Alright, today I'm going to be throwing a large pendant light that hangs from the ceiling. Here I'm centering the clay, moving the clay up and down till it becomes perfectly round. No wobbles in it. Here I'm going to start opening the clay, and I also use this shovel end. It helps me open the clay, kind of saves my wrists. Hard on the wrists sometimes when you're doing this to a large piece of clay. Here I'm pulling the walls and getting the height that I need. Next I'll start bowing out the sides, making the sides larger. So I'm basically making a giant bowl. I keep just pulling out to get the circumference right. Here I'm scraping it with a metal rib. And now I'm going to flip the pot over so I can throw the bottom. I call this double throwing. So there's a lot of clay left on the bottom when you cut it off the wheel. So I can use all that clay to change the bottom to the shape and size that I like. I have to throw this to get larger so that I can put the light fixture in the top of it to hang from the ceiling. So I'm going to keep pulling the clay up and stretching it and changing the form. I like to double throw these pots because I can really manipulate the form and, like I said, use all that extra clay. Here I'm just going to keep scraping it. You'll see the various tools I use. I use metal ribs, a rubber rib, I use a wood rib. Here I'm collaring the clay in to get the size that I want the fixture for the light to fit into. So I'm just going to keep working the clay. Here I'm cutting a little bit of the unevenness off of the bottom of the pot. And I'm just going to keep working it and working it. And as you collar in, this clay is kind of stiff. So stiff meaning that a lot of the water has been dried out of it. So the clay becomes a little bit harder to throw with. And it gets a little uneven more easily. So I just keep cutting the uneven also with my needle tool. And I'm just going to keep working it in. Using my fingers right now, but I am going to move to some tools. Here's the rubber rib I was talking about earlier. Helps to kind of shape it. The rubber rib is curved, so I can get that shape that I like. I'll probably go back to the metal rib a little bit and back and forth. And here at the end, I'm going to score it. Scratch it up so this piece of clay sticks really well. You have to score it and get a little bit wet so the two pieces join together well. I need these two pieces to be very strong, the connection, because all the weight will be hanging on this top piece. Here I'm pulling the clay in a little bit more, and I'll be cutting it more of the top off just to get, I don't need all that clay to make the hole opening. So I'm just kind of working it down over and over. So basically I'm making like a bottleneck that you would like on a vase. Keep it going here. A little bit more. Get a little bit wet so my fingers slide. Here's the metal rib, shaping a little more. And the metal rib helps get the slip or the really wet clay off. Here I'm going to use my needle tool again, working it down. And you'll see here in a minute I'm going to grab the fixture that holds the light bulb. So I got to get this hole perfectly fit for the fixture. I make it a little bit bigger because the clay shrinks as it dries. And then when you fire the clay, it even shrinks more. So you kind of predict how big to make the hole so the shrink comes down. Here's the fixture piece. So I just have an extra, and this is how I find the exact size for the hole. Here it is. It's a little too small. I like to start off smaller so I can keep making it bigger just to get the right size. Use my needle tool again. And I think I got it right here. Now you can see I wobble it back and forth to make sure it's a little bit bigger. Next I use a wet paintbrush and a sponge to clean it up. Get it all nice and smooth. And at the end I'll be taking the clay off the bottom here. I use this to anchor the clay down so it doesn't slide off as I work with it. And there you go. Thanks for watching. Pendant Light.